Paul Kagebein is the Adult Service and Programs Coordinator at the Garland County Library. His position consists of scheduling a wide variety of library-hosted events, programs, and services to educate and entertain adults of Garland County. While planning activities for those ranging from 18 to 99 years old can be a challenge, Paul takes pride in his job. Mr. Kagebein will discuss several ongoing and upcoming events and services at the library. Paul is a Hot Springs native and was voted class president of the Leadership Hot Springs class of 34.
Right. Well, I appreciate that introduction, and you got my last name right, Kagebein, which that's the challenge for some people, even me sometimes. Well, thank you, Marcellus, for inviting me, and all of you for having me here. And like it was said in my bio, I'm the adult programmer and event coordinator at the library. There is a whole separate department that does children's programming, but I'll try and cover a little of that as well. And if you have any questions at any point, you can interrupt me or save them for the end. I'll try and keep this casual. But we'll start with the programming aspect. And I try and have a variety of programming for a very diverse audience, which is what we have here in Garland County. And it's important to me that when we're choosing and curating programming for people of color here in Garland County, that we're not just doing it to say we did. I don't want to just have something during Black History Month or for Juneteenth and then call it a day. So that's why I met with Marcellus a few months ago, and we started a new program series called Perceptions of Color, which Mr. Weatherspoon here, he has been doing a great job coming up with guest speakers for that. So this is a program series, one of many different series that we have once a month. And the goal of this Perceptions of Color series is to explore and talk about all the different facets of the African American experience. So the first episode we did, we talked about gospel music for Gospel Heritage Music Month back in September, and then in October he did one for Black horror films. So two very different subjects, but both very interesting. And then our third episode is next week on the 19th, which is Friday at 3 p.m. And that one is called Bringing the Heat, Healthy Eating Alternatives for Thanksgiving. So three totally different subjects there, but it's going to continue into next year. And so that'll be one episode a month. So the great thing about these virtual programs, you can access them on the library's Facebook page or our YouTube channel. That's Garland County Library. And if you're not able to actually watch them live, then they are recorded and they're available there in our archives. So you can look under videos on the Garland County Library's Facebook or on our YouTube channel, and all of the past videos that we've had for adults will be available there. And you don't even have to have a Facebook account or be logged in to actually view and access those, because we have a public page. They're kind of organized from the most recent to the oldest. So if you weren't able to watch it live, then you can go back and watch some that we even did last year. And so we've done, I've done well over 100 adult videos at this point. And Marcellus is, we're only about to hit the third episode, but we have several other ongoing series on a variety of topics. I do one every month with the Master Gardeners. So if you're interested in gardening, you can check those out. There's one I do every month with the Hot Springs Cultural Alliance, where I have Mary Zunick with the Cultural Alliance, and she'll interview a local artist or an artist of local interest. Actually, earlier this month, her guest was Perry and Hurd, who's the one that's working on the Freedom mural with Harriet Tubman that's downtown in Hot Springs. So you can go back and watch that interview. We actually have several other ongoing series. I have one with a cosmetologist from Three Rivers that Arkansas State University, Quincy DeLoach. I believe Marcellus knows Miss DeLoach. She's doing an ongoing cosmetology series. Her most recent program was A Beginner's Guide to Applying Makeup. So see, some of these series are not always things that I personally would be interested in, but that's not what it's about. It's about trying to cover topics that everyone in the community might be interested in. So if you ever have suggestions or you know of any potential speakers or topics you would like to hear, you can reach out to me, and I'm sure Marcellus or someone will share my email address with you so you know how to contact me. Several other ongoing series. I do a monthly program with the Garland County Historical Society. We have a program with them next week on Tuesday, the 16th, and their next program is about the life and times of Sam Watt, who is a interesting adventurer character in Hot Springs history. So we also are slowly starting to have some in-person programs again for adults. Bingo for books, that's a popular one, especially with seniors, but you don't have to be a senior to attend. And you come and play bingo for free. And it's not just books that are on the line. We're actually giving away gift cards to local restaurants. We have all kinds of different in-person events that we have planned. Trying to do a monthly blood drive hosted by the Arkansas Blood Institute because the need for blood is in high demand right now, especially. Next month, we're going to have a holiday concert on December 8th, and that one is actually featuring Hot Springs' #1 performer as voted by the Sentinel Record. That's Jacob Flores. He's going to perform some Christmas music, and we're going to give out some free pastries and just kind of a little table where you can come and enjoy while he's playing music. So that's December 8th at 11 a.m. He's going to play music for a couple hours. We're also having a donation drive while he's doing that. So if you have any toys that you can donate, please do that, but that's not required to enjoy the concert. We try and do donation drives several times throughout the year. Right now we have one going on through December, taking non-perishable food, toys, gently worn or unused winter clothing, and hygiene products. And we try and donate those to local nonprofits or schools, just depending on the drive. So this one, they're going to go to Jackson House. Next time we'll try and spread the love and do a different nonprofit. We did a back to school drive over the summer, donate it to different local schools. We try and have a variety of concerts. There's a jazz concert next month on the 15th, separate from Jacob's concert. So I hope you can enjoy all of these programs. There's going to be a variety, both in person and virtual. So you can see all of those on our website calendar. And even as we return to in-person programming, knock on wood that it'll last and COVID won't flare back up again, but we're going to keep these virtual programs going on because they've had such great success. The good thing about virtual programs, we can reach way more people than we ever could just having it one time in person. So say you have a program at 6 o'clock one night in person, and it's a presentation like one of the ones Marcellus has been hosting. Well, the people that show up are the only ones that are able to attend it. But if you have it recorded, someone can watch it 2 or 3 months later at 3 o'clock in the morning. So some of these programs were getting hundreds of views on them. I think Marcellus's last one already has over 200 views, and that's twice as many people as we could fit in our library auditorium if everyone had somehow we filled up all those seats, which can be hard to do depending on weather or just time of day. So there's pros and cons, but we try and have everything available. And it looks like Marcellus just sent a link to our program calendar, so appreciate that. But it's gclibrary.com. You can find our calendar, or you can search for us again on Facebook or YouTube to see all those presentations, past, present, and future. So those are our adult programs. Again, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. We also have a variety for kids. And just to cover a few of those, I'm not the expert or the one who books them since I'm not in the children's department, but there's stuff going on for kids almost every day of the week. Again, they do just like the adults. There's some that are virtual, some in person. There's different story times, like just looking, seeing what they have coming up next week. Let's see here. Preschool story time every Wednesday morning. They've got a homeschool book club for homeschoolers. They've got a music and mindfulness program. They've got toddler time. They've got amazing makers. They've got a scavenger hunt. So just a big variety, just for all kids of all ages. And most of their programs do require advanced registration. Most of the adult ones do not, especially the online ones, since there's no limit to how many people can watch. So if you're signing up kids, yeah, be sure to check and make sure the registration is available and try and do that in advance, because a lot of their programs, they have crafts or something to pick up or books, and so there's a limited number, especially the in-person ones. So again, those are the programs. Now I do want to talk about a few of the services as well. And you may have seen in the news that New York Public Library and Chicago Public Library, their library systems recently went fine-free. And our library actually did that in January of 2021. So I'm sure they didn't notice that we did it and we're not their inspiration, but we did it first. And going fine-free, it fines disproportionately impact poor people and people of color. So that was something that we were proud to get rid of. It's just a barrier that keeps people from being able to access their library, and accessibility to our collections and services is something that's very important to us. When we went fine-free, we actually saw a lot of missing items were returned. In fact, we recovered over $70,000 worth of missing materials in the past 11 months since we went fine-free. The only fees or expenses that our patrons would have now is if an item goes completely missing or is damaged. But as long as it comes back to us, we're not going to charge people a nickel and dime every day anymore. That's just a barrier that keeps people from accessing the library. Another service that we're able to offer that we started late last year, and we had actually been planning on doing this anyway, but the pandemic kind of expedited the process and expanded it, is home delivery. Home delivery is eligible to pretty much anyone that lives in Garland County, even if you live a couple blocks away from the library. Some people, it's not just for the elderly or homebound people. Anyone can sign up for the home delivery service. So some people, they may just not have a car, or they just may not be able to make it during our open hours. There's any number of factors, but it doesn't matter what their reason is for not being able to come to the library directly, even if it's just a convenience thing. They are eligible for home delivery, and we'll deliver those items straight to their door and pick up their returns. So that's been a big success as well. On Tuesdays, we go to the northern part of the county. So that would be Hot Springs Village, Fountain Lake, and then the northern part of the city, so Park Avenue area. And then on Wednesdays, we'll deliver to the majority of the city of Hot Springs, and then the more rural areas over on the western side. So Percy, Lake Hamilton, Piney, that area. But if you want to sign up for that, then you're going to be eligible. We'll bring your kids' materials, and not just books, audiobooks, DVDs. We have a lot of other items for checkout that you may not be aware of, like video games, fishing poles, cake pans. Fishing poles always surprise people. But we'll deliver all that to your house. We make a couple stops throughout the week, and we'll pick up all your returns too. So just call the library, or you can email us and sign up for that service. So there's a whole lot I'm forgetting because we're always adding things, and there's a lot of exciting things happening. But if anyone can think of any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Oh, another thing, I'm actually the person in charge of the meeting room availability. So our meeting rooms have been shut down since the pandemic started. That's going to be the last thing that comes back. And we've actually taken this time to reevaluate our meeting room policy. But it's going to make meeting room accessibility easier as well. We previously had a lot of rules for signing up. They've always been free to use, but there was a lot of extra paperwork that you had to read, and we're making our rules for everyone to use the meeting rooms less strict instead of more strict. So that'll be something available to more people for things like tutoring or meeting with their notary or their club. That'll all be a lot easier than it has been in the past. And anyone who had taken advantage of that meeting room access in the past, they'll still be able to renew their room once we start that back up in January. But yeah, we have several rooms. We have 4 smaller rooms, and then our larger auditorium that has all the AV equipment. All of those are free. So just contact us and you can get on the list for that when that starts back up next year. So any questions, comments, concerns, complaints? See.
That was my question. I was going to ask you about the meeting space, but you answered that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to say I didn't realize you had all those programs. I mean, I knew you had a lot of programs, but I didn't hear about the fine thing. I'd never heard about the deliveries and stuff. I think you're doing a great job. This is such a wonderful. I'm so glad that you came to speak to a group today. I learned a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost ran out of breath just talking nonstop. But yeah, they've been very popular, these changes of going fine free and home deliveries. We've seen a boost in our attendance and numbers. So even though we may be not having the same in-person foot traffic, people are using us in different ways, and we have to adapt. And I mean, there's kind of different philosophies in libraries. Some people want to keep with the old-fashioned print materials and the card catalogs, and they have a certain view, but our philosophy is a little different. We want to make sure we're adapting as society and communities do, and we have to be able to meet people's needs. And if that's not necessarily right there in person in the library, then we'll find a way to get to you, because I mean, everyone in Garland County is somehow they're a taxpayer in some way, or they're contributing to the library, and then it's our job to provide services and contribute back to them.
To expound on that delivery piece, you may have mentioned it and I may have missed it. Is there a certain perimeter that do you deliver out in the county, or is it just certain
It's
areas?
Every area of the county except for the extreme rural areas. There's this little pocket around Lake Washita, but we haven't expanded to that yet. But yeah, anyone that lives in Hot Springs, the city,
Yes,
is eligible.
gotcha.
Yep. So and again, there doesn't have to be a reason like a doctor's note or homebound or anything like that. It can be just for any reason, just because someone doesn't feel like getting out, and you don't have to commit to it. So if someone has their holds available and they decide they want to come pick them up early before their delivery day, they can come get those, and there's no penalty for doing that. So anyone can just opt in, sign up, and if it's available that morning when the driver goes out, he's going to take it to your house and put it on your door. And if not, if you come pick it up early, that's okay.
And those parties are responsible for bringing it back to the library, correct?
Nope. He'll pick it up. There's a designated day depending on what part of Garland County you live in. So for most of the city of Hot Springs, that day would be Wednesday, except for the part that's up going towards the village. So if anyone lives like Park Avenue or north of downtown like that, that would be on Tuesday on the day he goes out to the village. So
That's wonderful.
yeah. So if you want to return, as long as you have something, to pick up, or he'll take your returns and just put up the new items there, and it can be anything, books, DVDs, and yeah, that service is growing, and it's not going away regardless of the state of the pandemic, just because it's been so popular. And he did our driver ran the statistics, and we've saved people already just in the past year. It was like something like over 10,000 miles worth of driving back and forth, because it's been great.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard for some people. Our hours are 8 to 6 during the weekdays and 1 to 6 on the weekends. So if you work a 9 to 5 job, or for kids, if they're in school all day, it's hard to find time to come to the library in person. So when you get home after school or after work, that can be waiting on your doorstep, your books.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Do you expect your hours to change? I mean, do you expect your hours to expand soon?
That's being evaluated. We're open about the same number of hours as we were before. There were a few nights a week when we were open to 8. And so the change now is that it's 8 to 6. So we're open earlier, and there is more usage in the morning than there was in the evening. Most of the evening usage came from the meeting rooms, from like 6 to 8 on those days that we were open till 8. So it might be that when we open the meeting rooms again, we can have those accessible, because you can reach those and shut off the rest of the library. So we'll kind of evaluate that as we go. But at this time, most of the activity in person is earlier in the day instead of in the evening.
I love the library. I think the Garland County Library is just, awesome. I remember being a kid, going to the kids section of the library and going to story time. There would be, a book read, and there would be cookies and punch served. And as a kid growing up on Garden Street, walking to the library and things of that nature, it was an awesome community service. So I wanted Paul to come today to talk about some of the services that the Garland County Library provides to the community. And he's told us a lot. He's been very thorough, but he's still only scratched the surface. People get their Medicare filled out at the library. They get their taxes filled out during tax time. There's just so much that goes on at the library. So I wish I could just shout from the rooftop and be like, hey, go to the library, it's awesome. But I can only do this because I'm the president of this. And so I brought him on today to share with us. But yeah, how can we get the word out about some of the things that are going on at the library?
Well, we have all this information on our website, gclibrary.com. People can follow us on our different social media pages. We have a Facebook, and that's going to be where our biggest following is. And we'll try and share, several news posts throughout the day of different events going on. And you can see all the upcoming events on our calendar at least a month in advance for the most part. But just letting people know that the library is more than just the old-fashioned view of the library where it's just books, letting people know that we have all these services, because a lot of people are surprised and they want to take advantage of these once they learn about them. But it's so often that people don't even realize that we have all these things that we're offering, because not everybody, even though, most people are on Facebook or some kind of social media, and if they're not, then they read the paper or they're but I think the biggest driver of this news is from word of mouth. So just sharing that with people. And I'm glad you brought up a couple of things there, because we do have the free public internet access. We have free Wi-Fi. So even when we're closed, that Wi-Fi stays on all night. So if someone wanted to come use our parking lot to use their laptop or access Wi-Fi on their phone, then we have free public Wi-Fi. We also check out hotspots. So if someone doesn't have internet access or reliable internet access at their home, they can get on the list for hotspots. And that actually, there's a pretty long waiting list for those hotspots right now, but we're trying to add more all the time. But yeah, we pay for the unlimited data on those hotspots. And since we started doing that about a year and a half ago, it's just been a constant waiting list. So that shows you the need for internet access in Garland County. And, I wish we could provide it for everyone, but, and we're helping as many people as we can, and we're trying to add more. We have our free computers. Printing is pretty much the cheapest in town, 5 cents a page for black and white. And again, we don't want to tell people no. So if someone, needs something important printed for free, we're not going to tell them no unless it's just ridiculous number of pages. But if someone needs an important document, we may not advertise that we'll do that, but we will. We don't want to tell anyone no or keep them from doing something important or accessing some kind of service they need. We have free scanning, so someone can scan their documents to an email address or wherever they need it to go. And our internet access is free all day. There is a time limit, but if no one's waiting, you can just get back on as much as you need. And we also have some laptops for use in the building. We don't let people take those laptops home, but they can sit somewhere in the building and find a little private corner and work all day long on their homework or work or whatever they need to do. And then you brought up the free tax aid too. Yep, during tax season. So that's going to start at the beginning of February and last until taxes are due in the middle of April. The AARP is there, and the AARP, most people associate them with seniors, but they will help any Garland County resident who makes under a certain income amount. I think it's like $100,000. So as long as so pretty much most of Garland County is eligible for that service, and they'll do free tax aid as long as they bring all their documents and ID and W-2s and all of that. They'll sit down and do it all for them at no cost. And so I think they help about 1,200 people every year do their taxes for free here in Garland County.
Wow.
I wish everybody in America everybody in Garland County was here today to hear it, but we've got it recorded so they can come back, like you said, and check it out and find out all the great stuff going on with the library. It's just awesome. Does anybody else have anything else? Any other questions? Go ahead, Paul.
The dog reminded me of something else. We have, the home deliveries are great, but we also have curbside pickup. So you can just pull up in the library in front of our book drop and call a number, and we'll just bring your holds out to you. And the reason the dog reminded me of that is we have some free dog treats that we give people, but no one ever tells us the dog is with them. But yeah, if you bring your dog in your car and call us, we'll bring out your holds and bring your dog a treat.
Oh, I had a question on what time does the scheduling for the meeting room start in January?
Stay tuned. We're actually having a meeting about that before Thanksgiving. We're having a meeting, and we're hoping to announce all the more firm details to the public at the beginning of December. So hopefully it'll be as soon as January starts, but no guarantees just yet. But we'll have, by the beginning of December, we'll have all the public details on meeting rooms for next year out.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, this has been excellent. And Paul has, again, been so thorough, and just want to thank him. Like he said, he reached out to me several months ago in regard to the Perceptions of Color series, and we've just enjoyed working together with that. And this has just been a symbiotic relationship between the library and the Hot Springs NAACP. So we're grateful for the relationship and hopefully continue to build upon it. So we want to thank Mr. Paul Kagebein for being with us today. And you're free to hang out or you're free to go. But if anything, I'll see you next Friday for the Perceptions of Color
That's
on the
right.
19th.